Spider-Man happens to be my favorite superhero, and my second favorite comic book hero, with only Batman having higher standing in my eyes. As a kid, I got my Spidey fix by enjoying the fantastic animated series of the 90s, my older brother's comics, which he didn't know I used to get into. Until now. And of course, video games. Like most superhero-based games of the era, almost all the Spider-Man-centered games ranged from mediocre to being nigh unplayable. Amongst all the dung that passed for games, one red cart stood tall above all others. Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage. At least, I remember it being a cut above the rest. To be honest, I haven't played it since I was a kid, but I'm sure nostalgia isn't clouding my memory on this. Right? Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage, is based on the Marvel crossover event unsurprisingly titled Maximum Carnage. In addition to the eponymous characters, the story also featured Cloak and Dagger, Black Cat, Shriek, Doppelganger, Demogoblin, I don't know, some other characters I don't remember right now. A lot of people were in it. Okay, a lot of heroes, a lot of villains. It's not the most nuanced of stories, but it was ripe for a video game adaptation. So let's jump in. You know what's funny? I don't even know who made this game. Well, my confidence in this game just got about 3,468% more shaky. One cool thing about this game right off the bat is that the music was done by Green Jello. I know, it looks like it's pronounced Green Jelly, but I promise it's pronounced Jello. So the band was originally called Green Jello, but Jello didn't want their brand associated with anything that could be considered unseemly or not family-friendly or vulgar. I can honestly say I love the soundtrack provided by Green Jello. There's just something about the SNES sound chip reproducing metal sounds that is so damn charming. The game just throws you into the action. There's no options or difficulty selection. You're on your own. The first level takes place on the streets of New York, and it pits Spider-Man against terrifying, fearsome, completely lame hobos and Gen X young adults. Gotta say, it's kinda weird seeing Spider-Man get his hiney handed to him by these punks. Here's the classifieds! Find yourself a job! Alex, start caring about conforming to societal norms. After utterly destroying 30 punks or so, I'm finally at the boss, and, well, yeesh. I don't know, there's something disconcerting about watching Spider-Man punch a young woman in the face. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, after beating the crap out of 2 young women, Spider-Man is compelled by his Spidey sense to start climbing up some walls. His before-mentioned Spidey sense warns him of incoming sonic beams. Honestly, this level isn't too difficult. In fact, I would say it's— oh my Spider-God, what the hell was that? That, for those of you who may not know, was Doppelganger, a monstrous version of Spider-Man created from a fractal in the dimension of manifestations by Prime Manifester Anthropomorpho? What? Doppelganger first met Spider-Man while he, that is Spider-Man, was in the middle of a fight with Hobgoblin, whose alter egos have included Roderick Kingsley, Arnold Donovan, Ned Leeds, who— hey, maybe he's this kid, Jason Macendale, Daniel Kingsley, and Phil Urich. The Hobgoblin is not to be confused with the Green Goblin, which is split into 3 different versions. The traditional comics Green Goblin, which is split further into 5 separate versions— Norman and Harry Osborn, Bart Hamilton, and our friend Phil Urich again— and a genetic construct. Then there's the Mighty Morphin Goblin and Dirt Goblin. Now, the Green Goblins are not to be confused with the New Goblin from Spider-Man 3, though you would be forgiven for confusing the New Goblin with a snowboarder. Then there's the Goblin Knight and Goblin King, who are both actually Phil Urich. Good lord, that dude has been every type of goblin except for the Demogoblin, an actual demon who escaped from Limbo by fusing with Jason Macendale, who was, at the time, you guessed it, the Hobgoblin. He'll show up later in this game, that is to say the Demogoblin. None of the other goblins are in the game, but Demogoblin is in the game. It's a lot of goblins hating on Spidey. Where was I? Oh yeah, at the top of the roof, Spidey has to fight Doppelfractal and Shriek. Then he falls, fights a bunch more hobos, Gen Xers, women that have literal kick-ass hairdos, and an overweight gentleman named Coley, who manages to get the best of Spider-Man. Fortunately, Cloak and Dagger were in the neighborhood, and kind souls that they are, they decide to help the web-slinger out. Then they just kinda sorta dump him in what looks like a church, and a fight with Doppelganger and Shriek breaks out. Again, Carnage barges in as Dagger jumps down. Spider-Man is clearly hit by Carnage, but the next cutscene is Cloak calling out Dagger's real name in agony, so I don't really know what happened. The next level offers the chance to play as Venom in San Francisco. That's a whole new character on the other side of the country, and yet it still feels the exact same as the previous 20 minutes of gameplay. Venom has the same moveset as Spider-Man. He's fighting the same thugs Spider-Man has been fighting across the country. The thugs are behaving the same way they've behaved since the first level. Everything is the same. And this is where the game really starts showcasing its greatest flaw. It's really, 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 really repetitious. See what I was, a lot of reallys to nail home the point. The only thing that breaks up the monotony is an occasional item the hero can throw or a boss fight. You do get to call on other heroes like Firestar and Black Cat to perform a special move later in the game, but that does little to help the nagging repetition. But the 90s kid, I see you typing in the comment section in a fever of disproportionate rage, you turd-licking butt nugget. It's a beat-em-up, and all beat-em-ups are repetitive. To which I say, first of all, I think you may have an unhealthy obsession with fecal matter. And second of all, you are right. Beat-em-ups often offer little variation in terms of enemies and mechanics, but the good ones like Final Fight, River City Ransom, and the Simpsons arcade game, my 3 favorites in the genre, by the way, have a level design and controls that are so tight you barely notice you've been wailing on the same enemies for the last 2 hours. Okay, I have to take a minute to talk about these cutscenes. For the most part, I actually like them. They are actually panels from the comics, from the actual storyline. That's cool, but this one stands out to me. First off, bang up job on Mary Jane. You really nailed that red hair. Second, let's look at Peter. His face is just so damn goofy. This is not helped by the bear slippers he's wearing either, though to be fair, those are taken directly from the comics. Anyway, Carnage recruits Demogoblin, Black Cat joins the fight on the good side, and suddenly I'm able to choose which hero I want to play as. Venom is cooler, so naturally I pick Spider-Man, and son of a bitch, I'm back in the first level. I mean, yeah, it's called New York Street 2, but come on. It's the exact same, albeit with a couple more enemy types. Some of the names of these thugs are just so random. I mean, you have your generic Toms and Billies, but then there's Alamo, who was either named after a Catholic mission that I've been told I'm supposed to remember, or a god-dang smooth beer. Haydn, spelled H-A-Y-D-N, presumably after the Austrian composer Joseph Haydn. Kin, which I assume is short for Anakin, and less stupid than Annie. And Adina, who despite looking to be of Nordic or Germanic descent, is named after a pre-Columbian mound-building culture that lived in and around Ohio. Oh snap, it's boss fight time. This is gonna be intense. What the hell? Okay. That is not Dr. J. This is Dr. J. Oh, for the love, are these umbrellas made of titanium? Spider-Man can stop a train with his own brute strength, but just can't seem to punch through a little old umbrella. Well, anyways, I managed to dispatch the umbrella-wielding fiends, and after a quick trip to the club and a fight against Doppelganger, Demogoblin, and Shriek, which is made easier by Black Cat? I don't know, Spidey and the gang decide they need Reed Richards' sonic gun. So, one breaking and entering and tussle with a giant robot later, I'm finally ready to take on Carnage. After another fight against Doppelganger, Shriek, Demogoblin, and now Carrion, who's just the worst. Like, I hate this kind of ghost enemy bullcrap. Also, I don't really think Firestar is actually on my side. For the next level, I have to face Doppelganger, Shriek, Demogoblin, and Carrion again. Gosh, just come here, stupid son of a, just let me, let me hit you, finally! Well, screw this game and the horse it rode in on. I'm going to go play some River City Ransom. No! I don't care how unprofessional it is. I'm done with that stupid game. Look at this. Look at how fun this game is. It's got way more oomph to it, and it was released 5 years earlier. On an inferior system! What's that? I still had one continue left. Fine. I'll finish the game, but I'm fast forwarding to the end to avoid spoilers. Yes, that should play well. The final fight with Carnage is just balls-bashingly difficult. He's quick, crafty, and pretty hard to predict. Truthfully, after fighting the same bosses half a dozen times, this fight feels refreshing, albeit frustrating. The best part is that you can switch between Spider-Man and Venom during the fight, which doesn't alter the combat in any meaningful way, but at least provides the player with an extra life bar. You're gonna need that extra life bar. With the red symbiote finally subdued, the Avengers and their lazy asses finally show up to take Cassidy into custody. Yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. Of course, it's a shame you couldn't have been bothered when half of New York City was literally ripping itself apart, but I get it, you were out of town. You can't see me, I'm doing air quotes. But I'm just glad that Thor finally made it to lord over Cassidy with a literal blank face. At least Vision looks like he's having a good time. Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage is not an awful game. The game's controls are actually pretty tight, and the sound design, an all-important but oft-overlooked aspect of all beat-em-ups, makes every punching kick feel so god-dang satisfying. Unfortunately, the repeated boss encounters and half-dozen enemy types are not helped by a pretty lazy level design. I remember loving this game as a kid, but going back as an adult who has now played tons of beat-em-ups, old and new, it's hard for my nostalgia to blind me. I mean, as LJN games go, this is definitely upper tier. It's the cherry on top of a crap sundae. Thanks for watching my video. Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. Please subscribe.